In today's NBA, the three-point shot is not just a strategic option, it is foundational. Teams launch attempts from beyond the arc at an unprecedented rate, and individual brilliance is often measured by a player's ability to create and convert these high-value shots. But this wasn't always the case. For decades, the three-point line was viewed with skepticism, even disdain, by many of the league's most respected figures. Its journey from a niche novelty to the game's ultimate weapon is a story of resistance, forced evolution, and the ruthless redefinition of success. The three-point line made its NBA debut in the 1979-80 season, adopted from the ABA as part of the merger. Initially, it was met with a lukewarm reception. Many traditionalists, including prominent coaches and players, considered it a gimmick, the desperate last resort rather than a core offensive strategy. Legendary Celtics coach Red Auerbach was famously quoted by Sports Illustrated as seeing it as merely something to help the underdog. This sentiment permeated the league, shaping play styles for years to come. For years, the statistics clearly reflected this institutional reluctance. In the inaugural 1979-80 season, teams averaged a mere 2.8 three-point attempts per game. This number saw only incremental growth throughout the 1980s. By the 1989-90 season, a decade into its existence, the league average for three-point attempts per game had only crept up to 6.6. Most coaches still emphasized post-play, mid-range jumpers, and driving to the basket, viewing the three as an inefficient, low-percentage shot best reserved for late-game heroics. Among the most vocal proponents of traditional basketball was Jerry Sloan, the stoic head coach of the Utah Jazz. Sloan's teams were renowned for their bruising defense, disciplined half-court offense, and reliance on the dynamic duo of Karl Malone and John Stockton. He publicly expressed skepticism about the three-point shot, often emphasizing grit and interior scoring over perimeter shooting. For Sloan, winning was built on fundamentals closer to the basket, not on what he perceived as a flashy, less reliable shot from beyond the arc. Star players of the era, too, largely shaped their games around this traditional philosophy. Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest player of all time, was known for his unmatched mid-range mastery and explosive drives. While capable of hitting the three, it was never a primary weapon. Shaquille O'Neal, a dominant force in the paint, openly joked about his lack of a three-point shot, content to overpower opponents inside. Their success reinforced the notion that dominant basketball was played close to the rim, not from 23 feet, 9 inches. A temporary shift occurred between the 1994-95 and 1996-97 seasons when the NBA moved the three-point line in by 2 feet to 22 feet in an attempt to boost scoring. This change immediately impacted offensive strategy. League-wide three-point attempts jumped significantly, averaging 15.3 attempts per game in 1994-95, up from 9.9 the previous season. Players like Dana Barrows and Steve Smith flourished during this period, showing what was possible when the shot became more accessible. However, once the line was reverted to its original distance, the league initially retreated to old habits. The true, sustained revolution began in the mid-2000s, driven by an increasing embrace of advanced analytics. The concept of points per possession highlighted the superior efficiency of three-point attempts over long two-point shots. Coaches like Mike D'Antoni, with his 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns, began to push the boundaries, prioritizing pace and perimeter shooting. This marked a crucial turning point, publicly demonstrating the offensive firepower unlocked by embracing the three-point shot as a primary weapon. By the 2008-09 season, the analytical shift began to manifest significantly across the league. For the first time, the NBA collectively averaged over 18 three-point attempts per game, reaching 18.0. This wasn't just a few teams experimenting, it was a broader trend signaling a fundamental re-evaluation of offensive priorities. While still modest by today's standards, this season marked a critical threshold, indicating a departure from the historical aversion to the three-point shot and a growing acknowledgement of its strategic value. Even coaching titans known for their traditional approach were not immune to this evolution. Greg Popovich, the revered head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, was once a public skeptic of the three-point shot, famously quipping in 2010 that he still hates it. His teams, built around Tim Duncan's post play and fundamental defense, were often near the bottom of the league in three-point attempts. Yet, faced with the league's changing landscape, Popovich, a master of adaptation, eventually embraced it, transforming the Spurs into a potent three-point shooting squad. The shift in the Spurs' philosophy under Popovich is a powerful illustration of the league's evolving demands. In the 2011-12 season, the Spurs ranked 15th in the league in three-point attempts per game, averaging 20.3. Just 2 seasons later, in their championship-winning 2013-14 campaign, they ranked 8th, significantly increasing their volume to 23.4 attempts per game. This wasn't merely an increase in quantity, it was a fundamental change in their offensive DNA, a recognition that even the most tradition-bound organizations had to adapt to stay competitive. No player embodies the three-point revolution more than Stephen Curry. From his rookie season in 2009, Curry demonstrated an unparalleled ability to shoot from deep, often off the dribble and from incredible distances. By the 2012-13 season, his Golden State Warriors began to fully unleash his potential, and the league took notice. Curry's exceptional volume and efficiency didn't just win games, it fundamentally altered perceptions of what was possible, inspiring a generation of players to prioritize perimeter shooting and stretching the floor. The 2014-15 season represented another significant milestone. The Golden State Warriors, led by Stephen Curry, won the NBA championship, validating their three-point heavy offense. That same season, the league average for three-point attempts per game crossed the 22.0 mark, reaching 22.4. This wasn't just an anomaly, it was a new baseline. Teams were now actively seeking out three-point shooters, designing plays specifically to generate these shots, and demanding that even big men develop a perimeter game. The revolution was no longer deniable. For many players and coaches, this paradigm shift presented a stark choice: adapt or risk career obsolescence. Players who once thrived in the mid-range or relied purely on post-ups found themselves needing to develop a three-point shot. Coaches had to dismantle long-held offensive philosophies and embrace space, pace, and perimeter shooting. Those who stubbornly refused or were unable to make the necessary adjustments often saw their relevance diminish, proving that the game's evolution spared no one, regardless of past accomplishments. Even a generational talent like LeBron James illustrates this forced evolution. Early in his career, LeBron was not a consistent three-point threat, often relying on his athleticism to drive to the basket or unleash powerful mid-range jumpers. However, as the league evolved, so did his game. By the 2016-17 season, as the league's average 3PA soared past 27.0, LeBron was attempting a career-high 5.9 three-pointers per game, hitting 36.3%. This demonstrates that even the game's most dominant figures had to add this crucial element to their arsenal to maintain their elite status. The 2016-17 season cemented the three-point line's ultimate dominance. The league-wide average for three-point attempts per game reached an astounding 27.0. This marked a complete reversal from the early days of the line's existence, where single-digit attempts were the norm. This explosion in volume was driven by both strategic choices and a new generation of players, many of whom grew up imitating the long-range specialists. The era of the mid-range specialist as the primary offensive threat had largely faded, replaced by the prolific perimeter shooter. The consequences for those unable to adapt were severe. Players whose games were almost exclusively built on back-to-the-basket post-ups or contested mid-range jumpers found their value diminishing rapidly. Teams prioritized spacing and shooting, making it harder for non-shooting bigs to remain on the floor without elite defensive or rebounding skills. The once coveted mid-range shot, while still present, became a less efficient option, often sacrificed for either a shot at the rim or a three-pointer. Perhaps no position has been as dramatically redefined as the center. Once the domain of back-to-the-basket giants, the modern center is now often expected to stretch the floor and shoot threes. Players like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, while dominant inside, also possess formidable three-point strokes, making them incredibly versatile. Centers who cannot shoot threes, like traditional rim protectors, must now be exceptionally dominant defensively or on the boards to justify their presence in the modern spacing-driven game. Today, to achieve superstar status in the NBA, a potent three-point shot is almost a prerequisite. Whether it's the high-volume creation of a Damian Lillard, the versatile threat of a Kevin Durant, or the game-changing accuracy of a Trae Young, the ability to consistently hit from deep is non-negotiable. It opens up the floor, forces defenses to react, and creates opportunities for every other aspect of a player's game. Without this weapon, a player's ceiling for individual and team success is inherently limited in the current NBA landscape. The journey of the three-point line from a scorned novelty to the game's ultimate arbiter of success is a testament to evolution. It challenged the wisdom of the old guard, forced legendary coaches and players to reconsider their foundational beliefs, and ultimately redefined the very essence of basketball. The careers it destroyed and rebuilt overnight serve as a powerful historical lesson. Innovation, however initially resisted, can fundamentally alter the landscape, leaving those unwilling or unable to adapt on the wrong side of history. The three-point line story is far from over. As analytics continue to refine offensive strategies and players push the boundaries of range and efficiency, the game will undoubtedly continue to evolve. Yet, its transformative power has already left an indelible mark, serving as a constant reminder that even in a sport rich with tradition, fundamental changes can emerge, forcing everyone, from rookies to Hall of Fame coaches, to adapt, innovate, or risk becoming a footnote in basketball history. The revolution continues, one three-pointer at a time.